Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this Brawl Stars 2 video. So it's been about a week or so since the release of Brawl Stars 2 and we have a better understanding of the meta of the game, the various power levels of the units, as well as how good the unit is in the various game modes itself. So in today's video, we're going to run through an ultimate reroll guide for those of you guys who are just starting out on the game and do not know who to go for, or those of you guys who have a 1 week old account and is still looking to reroll your account because you think you can form a team that's better or get a better account out of it. So without further ado, let us jump into today's video. Let's go. Okay, so I will run through the general reroll procedure. And firstly, you run through the tutorial, pretty straightforward, and you go into your infinite reroll. So this will take about 5 to 10 minutes. And then after that, you go into your infinite reroll, choose the desired set of infinite reroll you want, go into the bar, clear the first chapter or chapter 0, your prologue, and then go into chapter 1. So once you're into chapter 1, when you're inside the house of Lethal, you'll be able to actually claim your mailbox. So for a mailbox, they'll actually give you some summon currencies. So this is still within 1 to 2 weeks of the release of the game. So moving forward, if you're looking at this video maybe 2 or 3 months later, or like few years into the future, if the game still exists, these things might change, these freebies might change, and the banners itself might change as well. But do take note that once you do your infinite reroll, you should have some additional resources to perform additional summons outside in the chapter 1 bowl. So you can choose the specific banner up and then summon for them. So during this period itself, there's actually an event for the banners. So for Justia, if you're able to get 1 copy, you get 10 additional summons. Every additional upgrade, you will be able to get 10 more summons from there. So that's where you can actually abuse the event and then farm for additional summons to make sure your account starts off really strong, right? You can do it the same for Shara as well. So whichever banner you go for, you kind of want to focus on that banner so that you can eventually hit the 200 PT, which is very achievable even if you're free to play when you play through the game itself. So it is very achievable from there. So that's the general process, and let us run through who to run for your infinite reroll banner. Now let's start with the infinite reroll banner. So for the infinite reroll banner, you'll get a combination of both characters and weapons. Personally, I think the most ideal combination is you get 1 ideal 5-star, you get 1 ideal 4-star characters, and then you roll for 1 SR or UR equipments you can use for your 3-star or 4-stars. And on top of that, you'll be also getting an exclusive weapon for your 5-stars. So you want to roll for the specific exclusive weapon for the 5-star character you're rolling. So the best combi I'll say is, let's say for example, I'm pulling for Justia, right? One of her forms. Then I want to get the weapon for Justia in the UR state, then I will be maybe getting a Crow, let's say if I'm hoping for Crow. So Justia with Crow with Justia's weapon, and then maybe a UR weapon for Wiggle, for example, or UR weapon for Aerins, for example. So this will give me, I'll say, quite a very decent reroll. It's very hard to get, by the way, because multiple URs in the banner, they are not easy to get, and specific ones even harder. So you might have to make do with subpar results, but ideally you want 1 ideal 5-star, 1 ideal 4-star, and UR weapon in your pool that you can use on your 3-star. So this weapon stays for a very long time and gives you a very long-term value in terms of your character pool itself. So let's go through the character power levels, or who are the targets you want to look for. So all these units at the bottom, they are not obtainable from the infinite reroll, so I will just not talk about them because they are either obtainable from the story itself or you can get them from the standard banner. So if you're not going for the specific banners, if you're not, for the infinite banner, you won't be able to get them, so I'm not going to talk about them. But when you talk about the specific banner, which are your Justia as well as Shara one, right, then you might be able to get them. So I'll talk about them in the second part of this talk, which is the heroes you want to look for. So let's start with the infinite reroll ones. So here are your 3-stars. So I rated them in terms of their general power level based on the current play rate as well as how good they are. Personally, you don't need to focus too much on the 3-stars because once you start pulling on your banners itself, you will be able to get them pretty consistently. And by now, I have all my 3-stars at +5, so you can actually decide who you want to focus on once you actually get them to +5, because they will be quite powerful. They pick really easily, so that's something to take a look out for. But in the infinite reroll, you don't have to actually look out for this because you get Wiggle for free right? And like since they are 3 stars, once you start rolling on your standard banner, you'll be getting a lot of them for free as well. So I'll say these 4 units are like currently the better 3 stars if you sort of like looking out for them. So Wiggle is a top tier DPS. If you guys want to see a complete highly accurate tier list, there I'll link up in the card above. So that's from the CN side. I gave my opinions on it. So Wiggle is one of the strongest carry in the game, even though he's only 3 star. So you guys can keep a lookout for him. Then we have Arin's very, very versatile support that buffs attack and crit damage, so really, really helpful. And then we have a repositioner that's able to buff her own damage to massive numbers, Emma. Then we have Julia, insane healer, very good to keep your team healthy so that you save on those goals on your in rest, or even saves on those food that you're gonna cook, right? Basically you save on resources which you will need to regenerate HP. So Julia is very good there. Carlson is a pretty decent tank because 65% damage reduction is really insane at +5. So these are the ratings. So personally, 3 stars not so important. Don't have to take too much in terms of reroll. Then for 4 stars, I'll talk about the units to skip for now. So we have this Lufina. So this unit is an anti-tank, which is not as strong right now personally. So let's say in the future, if she's really powerful, if there's an anti-tank meta in existence, then she might be strong, but I think for the general progression for PvE contents, she's not that good. And then for Alice, Alice is this this red girl over here with the red bikini. So she's not very strong because she's a physical damage dealer, but she reduces magical resistance. Very, very awkward in terms of positioning. So I'll definitely not encourage you to go for her nor her weapon. Then we have Lizelle. So this healer is given to you for free in the game. And personally, her heal numbers are not as good unless you max her out. And since she's a 4 star, she's a lot harder to max out. Julia does the healing job really well. So I think honestly, you don't really need her in your pool. Then we have Elenia. So this unit is very, very niche as well, which is currently not good for the general progression of the game. So I will recommend you guys to skip on this. So these 3, they are 5 stars, and this is a 4-star healer that you'll be able to get in the game, but honestly she's not as good compared to the one below her. Then let's talk about, I'll say, like the top tier reroll 5-star unit. So we have number 1 Cecile. So this is not the picture that you guys will see. She will be in a black hoodie. So I think it's called Dread Cecile or something, Black Dread Cecile. So this unit, right, is able to do massive magic damage, which is able to hit multiple boxes and reduce attack. So it's very good for farming, very good for utility purpose, even moving towards the later part of the game, and very good for pushing content if you are able to farm for her. So one of the better unit. Then we have Justia. So this is, I think, the straight attack version of Justia. So this one allows you to, like, if let's say you're already pulling for Candle Justia like myself, this allows you to get more copies of her to make her attacks more powerful, and then allow you to also push through content, because right now, at least at the point of recording of this video, the world element is light, so Justia does a lot more damage, very good for content pushing. Then we have Anastasia. So this unit provides massive damage, decent hitboxes, but she will be a little bit more expensive to invest in because her cost is quite high. But then again, that does not change the fact that she's a massive damage dealer, being able to boost her crit damage by quite a ton. She's gonna be a menace in the late game if you're able to get there with her. So that's something to look out for. Then we have the tank, right? So this tank is another model. I think her name is Lessis, right? So this unit is a superb tank, and you guys can see her counter ability as well as her shield ability from the other costume. So this is not the picture, but her name is Lessis. So she will look something like this, and you guys can pull for her. So she's more defensive. Then we have Helena, which provides massive damage reduction for your whole team. More of a defensive unit as well. Then we have Sheryl, another tank that has HP regen and damage reduction. So the first 3 units for the top tier 5-star reroll, they are more offensive by nature. AoE attacker, very good light attacker, single target, front and back. Then we have Anastasia, very big AoE T-shaped attacker and massive damage. Then we have 3 defensive, tankish kind of unit in the 5-star pool. So choose any one of these based on your personal preference. If you're a waifu guy, just choose the waifu that you like. If you want to focus on a defensive unit, then go for the 3 behind. If you want to go for the offensive unit, then go for the 3 in front. Then later on, once you go into your standard banner role, which is the chapter 1 roles itself, you can go for a more offensive unit. So that's how you actually group your pools from there. So depending on what you need, you go for one of these units. Then we have some 4-star which are top tier to look out for. So Cry is one of the better ones, I think personally. He's a good, I'll say, attacker with the cross shape and that damage defense reduction. So he's good for physical teams, very good for utility, so he will last for very long. Shamei, I'll say, is more so for the mage teams. Her second form, which is a school costume form, I'll say is pretty mediocre right now. So it is like good to have, not a must have, but she is in the list itself one of the more top tier 4-stars if you're planning to go for a mage team. So if you're going for Cecile is a mage, then Shamei is a good mage attacker because she provides magical resistance now, and her damage output is also really good, so she can act as a sub DPS. So these 2 units will be the one you want to go for. This one and this one will be the one you want to go for a mage team. So if you're going for a physical side, these 2 they are more physical, and then you go for Crow, which provides a huge AoE and a defense reduction for utility. Then if you want to go for a tank, these 2 are, I'll say, decent tankers. So Andrew is I'll say a very decent tanker with high evasion and taunting ability. Then for our dear Jaden over here, Jaden is also a good mage attacker, and this form of his is actually really good for the T-shape AoE mage damage, whereas he has another form which is the, I can't remember what the design is, but it offers a heal as well as increased magic resistance. So very good anti-mage tank over there. So these 4-star units, they are all goods in their own right. So let's talk about my personal take. So if I'm going for like the top tier pools, let's say if I go for Justia, I'll go for Crow for the physical side. And if I'm going for Cecile, then I'll go for Shamei for the magical side. So let's say if I'm planning to get Shamei from the standard banner, then I might look for a tank over here, which is really good as well, right? Andrew is a good taunter with a decent survival. Or I'll go for our dear Jaden with massive damage and potential lolly cuteness, so that's something to look out for. Then the remaining units at the bottom, they are not that bad, but they're just not as top tier as compared to the top few units I'm going to talk about. So we have Lathel, so this is our main character that you can get from the Infinite Reroll, but honestly speaking, he's not very strong. At least this form is not very strong, and you will be getting 1 copy of him in the story mode itself. Then next we have Shara. So same thing, Shara is another unit you can get from the story, not the most top tier unit, so you can actually skip on her. Grey as well, so Grey is a top tier unit, but the thing about Grey is you can also get Grey from the story. So honestly speaking, don't bother rerolling for this unit. They are decent, but if you really like them, you can go for them, but they are not like the most good ones in the pool in the Infinite Reroll. Then we have Alex. So Alex right now, at least at the point of recording this video, he's not as strong as I thought he would be. So I strongly don't recommend you guys to go for him. He's definitely decent in the damage output, but you have better options on top, right? So these are the better ones. Then we have decent 4-stars. So personally, not too much about them. Like these 4-stars are just way too good that these 3-4-stars, they just pale in comparison. So just build them based on your personal needs and who you want to roll for. Just a general idea. Maybe focus on one path when you start rolling. So either the mage path or the physical attacker path, and then decide on what 4-stars you want to go for, and then check out the decent 3-stars to pair with your team. So this will allow you to start your journey in a more strong manner and struggle less as you progress through the story mode itself. So as mentioned earlier, after you're done with your Infinite Reroll, you go into your regular mailbox, which is on the top right hand corner over here. You claim everything. So I already claimed everything over here, as you guys can see. So you will be able to get a bunch of free resources, and then from there you can jump into the draw button to choose the selected banner you want. So over here we have the specific character banner. So this is Kendo Justia, right? Very cute rabbit girl. Then we have your code S Shara over here. So she's a mage, she's a physical attacker, so you guys can take that into consideration if you want to start rolling after watching this video. And if you're coming a lot later, then let's talk about the integrated draw. So for integrated draw, there's no PT for the characters, although you get more costume variety. So volatile costume, you can get all 4 of it. So if you're aiming for very specific character costumes, then I think the standard banner is the one to go, because you have all the costume options available. Whereas for the specific banner, let's go through the specific banner. So they have this 200 exchange, but the costume itself does not have everything in the pool, and the rates for your other 5 stars are also a lot lower because a lot of the percentages went to the Justia costume, so the other 5 star will see a much lower rate of being obtained. So if you're somebody who is looking for a costume that is outside of the probability, then you should probably go for the integrated draw, at least in your initial reroll. But if you're somebody that, you know, plans to get any of this, then go for them. It's a lot better because once you get 1 copy of it, you get 10 additional draw, like I mentioned earlier, and you can upgrade this costume to obtain additional draws so that you're able to fund your gacha desires. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So this video is more so for the people who just started the game. Let's say if you are viewing this video maybe in the near future, a few months later, things might be a little bit different, but the mechanics of reroll is roughly the same. Go through your infinite reroll, get whatever resource you can farm for your standard draws, and then start your journey from there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe in order to see more, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.